Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time this video may reach you. I am Gracia Lucas, Chemical Engineering, Batch 1985. My Thomasian Education Experience. Why UST? Why BSCHE? Mom is a very religious person, and both she and Dad had sent us to a Catholic school, Our Lady of Loreto College and Santa Catalina College. In our study of history in our class, it would always mention about the origins of the University of Santo Tomas. In that way, I'm already familiar. Its Catholic ideology, more than its being prestigious, would always come first in my choice of a school in college. It was my dream to become a Thomasian, not so much of an elitist school, but its roots of teaching about God in its theology subjects would for sure bring me more to knowing about Him. Values emanating from the obedience to God is of prime importance to me, as these are the things that the eyes cannot see, and the way He judges a person more than the academic grades, which are the visuals by which man judges the world. God has so blessed me that I need not take an entrance exam to be accepted. My readiness on what I wanted to become someday started very early in my life. I was still in grade 4, and during that time, the slum book was a fad. In its numerous queries of one's personality, the one thing that stood out for me and consistently answered hopefully was the question, what you want to be someday? I would always reply, I want to take medicine. It was my dream to become a surgeon. I wanted to be involved in dissection of human body. I wanted to help the very sick people in this way. I am not afraid of blood. As a young and eldest daughter in the family, every time someone gets hurt with my sisters, as I do not have any brothers, and blood is coming out of their knee skin, as usually the case, I would be the first to handle the situation and know the aids I would administer outrightly. Came my third year in high school, and I was ready then to tell my parents my plans. The answer of my dad did not come so easy for me, as my hopes are so high then. He told me that they can send me to take a medical course, but my 3 sisters will not be able to study anymore. My compassion for my sisters were utmost in my life. That giving up was my next recourse. But what after this? Dad said then, since he had no son, he wanted to make me take a maths course like engineering. Still, medicine was in my mind. I asked him if I could wear a laboratory gown. Yes, he said, like being a chemical engineer. Fine, I said then, without any idea of what the course is all about. Just make sure that there's no math, okay? My, oh my. Memorable freshman to senior experience. On my first day in school is my socialization with males, as I had come from an exclusive all-girls type of environment. Considering too that I was an introvert, but this test came on as easy as to handle, as I was able to blend well with them. That my first pairs in UST came with 5 males, 1 gay, and just 2 of us females. My female friend Cora would always be with his boyfriend, who is not part of the group. In that case, I would always be with my male peers. They were all good to me and respected me and really took care of me, especially on assignments. Jerry, BSECE, Marvin, ECE, Marlon, BSCE, Bernie, BSCE, Raymond, BSCE. He died 4 years ago, and he's the one who was gay. Cora, BSIE. But being peers had to stay for 2 years only, since the third year is where we had to take our majors. During my early second year, I told my dad that UST had been very good in ECE. Most of the board exams top 10, 1 to 9 comes from UST. I told him about this since my second ordeal actually and burying it silently within me is to see myself out of the dean's listers. I thought that taking ECE will bring me back to the cream of the crop. Unfortunately, Dad did not permit me as he had something on his mind then that I had not known yet. No math. Goodness gracious. Third year was almost without the minor subjects and an everyday torture of almost all math and math-related subjects. But this did not bring my spirits down because I liked to be in UST and I wanted to end up a Thomasian. I endured all the hardships of becoming a chemical engineer someday, this time with my new set of friends who are mostly females. Maris, Vicky, Yeye, Joey, all of whom became a part of my wedding entourage 8 years after graduation. I have this peculiar attitude that when I am subjected to a hard situation like this math thing, I tend to become more energetic and all the more challenging myself to overcome it. This attitude paved the way for me to start to love chemical engineering, and this time I had started to form something in my mind to finish the course to the utmost of my ability and help alleviate the living conditions of my family someday. All my efforts started to gear towards this objective. In that way, fourth year was so easy for me to bear by then. So easy that I was even chosen to represent chemical engineering in the Miss Engineering Personality of 1984, an extracurricular activity that became another ordeal with me as I was so naive and introvert. The photo shoots, the walking practices, the dances, the projection, the speeches took me all the more out of myself and into the world of non-technicality and more of artistry. Kinda new sort of adventure. All the more ordeal was the professor's one take for an excuse from a quiz or exam having to go home so very late in the evening because of a practice. I had the first low result in one of my physical chemistry exams with Tatang Ignacio as he did not approve of my request for a special or a separate exam since it was only a very few days before the final event that our schedule became so hectic that I really did not have time to study anymore. I learned my lessons from that. When you take a privilege, there will always be a corresponding responsibility, and it won't be an excuse for non-accountability. Fourth year was also a pre-thesis formation year, and we really had a good time visiting different manufacturing plants. In Luzon, the Benguet gold mining was most memorable to me. The tremendous volume of wet soil quarried from the mountains and only a few grams of pure gold yielded. Just few, as in as this little. Biting Doberman guard the sludge in the refuse stage. Fifth year is an almost no-sleep part of my schooling. The thesis alone turned our heads much more with our unit operations and chemical engineering economics. It was the time that I learned to take 2 cups of black coffee just to keep my nerve alive in the wee hours of the morning. I prefer somber moments for study. That is why upon arriving home, I sleep and wakes up when everybody is asleep. All examinations taken and passed, thesis defended and passed, and it was time to shop for our graduation dresses. But we had to be in our engineering room for some final things to undertake. I was wearing my favorite uniform as I had 4 pairs of them, only to find myself still wearing it clean and all the rest are with vandalism or graffiti. It is how I call the writings on them. Fortunately, our magna cum laude, Jun Lao, he was able to reach my arms and get a hold of me, only to find myself entangled with 5 of my classmates writing in my favorite uniform, scribbling that they will miss me. So sweet. At the PICC of March 1985, I felt so much achievement and fulfillment of a dream my parents wanted of me, especially my dad. My chemical engineering career. I did not go to find a job after graduation, but opted to study in a review school in Manila, the MRII. I need to take the board exam to qualify myself as an authentic engineer. After taking the board exam, I still did not find for a job. Instead, had asked my mom that I wanted to take a personality development crash course, as I was much of an introvert, fragile, and shy type. She agreed to that, and I enrolled myself in Wilma Tapalia's personality development program. At this time, also, I was trying to research for a very convincing style of making a biodata. I really got so much from the program and gained confidence in myself and dressed myself up to convince an employer. They taught also about social graces, how to conduct oneself in an interview, and all the sort of thing about bringing up your self-esteem and selling yourself to the business world. I did not want to be in a manufacturing plant because I need to expose myself to people to test myself if I really have overcome my being introvert. My first job was with F.E. Zwillig Company Incorporated as a technical sales representative. Destiny had been most gracious to me since I was asked to handle pharmaceuticals. Come to think of the past about taking up medicine, at least I get to know about it through the drugs that I carry. As a technical sales representative, I was tasked to, let me go here a little bit faster, and with these are just duties and responsibilities, open up accounts in the pharmaceutical industry by way of befriending people from the guard to the decision maker or head of the purchasing and even to the operations manager. Next, build up relations with my suppliers back in Europe who are mostly traders like Dangshat of Germany, Doldor of Switzerland, Firmenich of Singapore, and others. Next, conduct surveys and studies of different companies as to their most asked for products, marketing styles, attitudes of staff, etc. And lastly, increase sales of our division every year by 20 to 30%. So my drive to move on to succeed then was so strong that in a few months' time, I was able to open up accounts in big pharma companies like Pfizer, Schering-Plough, Abbott, etc. It was also in this time that my boss, Mr. Somera, advised me that I pass the board exam. We had a regular income, transportation allowance, commissions, and foreign money. Unfortunately, when we received the money, it's already converted in Philippine peso. In a year's time, my superior discovered the energy within me to strive for the best. That is why he had given me additional accounts on flavoring and scents in the pharmaceutical industry. My partner, Maris, who is then a DLSU chemistry graduate, handling industrial chemicals, had been my eligible company in my shopping spree in the busy skirts of Makati. But I made sure then that I do the groceries at home and make sure that the house is not without stock of food. If something had to be repaired, I would handle the cost. My best gift to dad and mom then was to pay for the amortization of the land they bought in Antipolo. I pampered my nephews and nieces with gifts as well as my sisters and that of dad and mom. Honestly, I had only a few left in my bank account. All I was thinking of is my original objective of alleviating the life of my family. I was most happy here more than earning so much in my bank account. I was so much obsessed with my work that if 5 o'clock rings in the office clock, everybody's out for home. Mine was the time to get back to office and plan the day's journey. This being very responsible over things captured one of my grade school's classmates' boss' attention. My classmate happened to be in the same field as I am, but in a different competitor company, Accord International. I knew I was defeating her in most respect with regards to sales. I traveled as far as Las Piñas in the south to Monumento in the north. I just commuted and had no wheels then To make it short, I was pirated by this company. I was given a very good offer. It did not enter my mind that all was a marketing gimmick. To defeat a competitor is to make him or her join our company and offer a big package. But let him or her handle a different account. It was like starting from scratch again. The worst part is that they were teaching me the tricks of the business of trading, dirty tricks. I got so frustrated and my decision to have left swilling. However, though I have not been in the company, I still receive my commissions from the accounts I have closed prior to my resignation. Then one day, I received another set of my commission in check and had it in cash in the Bank of America in Makati. I asked the teller to place it in a used envelope. It was almost an inch thick of 100 peso bills. After that, I went home. This time, I went home early, sat on my bed, and brought out that thick envelope with cash. Threw it on my bed and looked at it so well. I asked myself, do I really like what I am doing? Is this money worth the effort I make? Is it not already my time to think that I have proven myself I am without or almost without this being introvert in me? Can I go this time to just being simple without the, hairsprays, makeups, and high heels and nice executive dresses? I wanted to wear the laboratory gown. I would usually ask my friends from the pharma company to tour me in their laboratories. I wanted something dirty and clean it up. I wanted a mess and get it organized. After that day, I started to prepare my comprehensive resume. Dad had known that I was out of my job, and this time, it was his time to pursue his plans for me. He was then the supervisor of the advertising in Magnolia Dairy Products plant in Quezon City, which now houses the Robinsons Magnolia there. It was really his plan to put me there before he retires. There were no job vacancies then. Dad had to ask the contracting agent Skill Power to give me the chance to work even on a contractual basis, just so to have a chance to be a part of the company. He was successful and I got it under the quality assurance department. I toured the plant and saw how the ice creams were made, how the eggs were crushed at four eggs crushed at a time. I think that this man was part of the Guinness World of Book Records. And I saw also ice creams, how they were, chocolates, really big blocks of chocolates. And of course, more importantly, the laboratory gown I was asked to wear with the cups and the boots. I felt then I was pursuing a medical career. My days were just numbered in Magnolia, and as most of my time my bosses would ask me to bring something to Dad, and it's always a priority. I felt I was used. More so, I felt then how much work they would give Dad, and there's just little pay. I felt then that Magnolia is so much established that it seems I cannot think of anything to make it good anymore. It was less of a challenge for me. I told Dad honestly that I had to leave, that I wanted the work that really speaks of my being a chemical engineer, starting up on something from scratch. I was lucky enough to find RFM Corporation. Its Swift Agribusiness Division was looking for an inspector then. I waited for the boss to make an interview, and that was 2 hours of wait, only to find the interview for just 5 minutes. He just looked at my resume, confirmed my school, and asked me to wait in a few days for the person's call for my papers. That easy, really. As an inspector, I had the following responsibilities: check, inspect, and monitor if standards are met in the processing, recommend solutions for off-standard parameters, develop procedures on how to maintain standards and how to keep track of them, help ensure a safe poultry supply for consumers and to reduce the potential of foodborne illnesses, and all poultry offered for sale or distributed must be inspected. Ensure that poultry is subject to the requirements under the National Meat Inspection Commission. Our product is a chicken. It was my first day at the plant in Pasig, and my golly, a laboratory gown in caps and boots was given to me. This time it's mine and I can keep it. I can keep them. My heart was beating so fast. I said, I can be a doctor of the chickens. Kind of weird though, but I knew God has given me this chance of seeing blood, dissecting and studying the carcasses of chicken at least. I had a super and really great time with Swift. In 3 months' time, I was able to draw the process flow of the plant and able to speak to a number of students visiting the plant. After a year's time with Swift, the plant manager asked me to take an exam at the Ateneo de Manila. This was a protocol required by the company for people opted for high positions. I was lucky to be considered very early, but I knew it was so premature to accept the offer. After the practicals, the visuals, and written exams came the interview. The one final question was, are you ready to assume a higher position? I said no. What counts most for me is that the real reward for good work is excellence over it. The monetary value comes behind. I was just new and still had lots of things to learn. After 3 years, they reviewed my papers again. Instead of taking a qualifying exam, they brought me to attend a number of seminars which honed my skills in planning, leading, organizing, and control. I was promoted to the supervisory level as quality assurance supervisor. This time, my laboratory gown tells my name and position. Thank God again. He really has blessed me. As a quality assurance supervisor, I was tasked with the following. This is a little bit longer. The quality assurance supervisor is accountable to develop, administer food safety and quality programs that result in compliance with corporate policies, procedures, FDA, NMIC, GMPs, and customer requirements as related to process and packaging of products produced at this poultry processing plant. Essential duties are audit and ensure compliance with customer requirements, FDA regulations, and GMPs, HACCP, as well as all NMIC product safety and sanitation policies, procedures, and guidelines. Participate in investigation and resolution of customer complaints, foreign material sightings, and reject product episodes. Ensure maintenance of appropriate ingredient supplies and product records. Resolve direct material quality issues and warehouse receiving problems. Ensure the ongoing coaching, development, and training of team members. Complete performance appraisals in timely manner, providing effective performance feedback. Provide expertise and resources for product analysis and reporting on incoming chickens and supplies, as well as processed and packaged products. Ensure that laboratory is equipped with all of the necessary supplies to complete the required testing. Purchase all routinely used items in most cost-effective manner, staying with a departmental budget. Budget and corporate equipment calibration and service contracts. Manage various document systems, including specifications, hold forms, sanitation procedures to ensure accuracy, completeness, and consistency. Prepare monthly report for operations manager. Deliver accurately and on time all the customer requests for documentations and samples. Coordinate the storage and rotation of all library samples, keeping for specified time period. Must maintain the highest standards of ethics and integrity while embodying the tenets of what we stand for and the basic principles. Must maintain the highest standards of data management by creating consistent, reliable data which will ensure accuracy and in turn maximize the use of data and confidence in decision making. Supervisory responsibilities. Directly supervises 5 quality inspectors and 2 laboratory technicians. Carried out carries out supervisory responsibilities in accordance with the organization's policies and applicable laws. Responsibilities include interviewing, hiring, training employees, planning, assigning and directing work, appraising performance, rewarding and disciplining employees, addressing complaints, and resolving problems. It was the summer of 1990 when I kissed my first Philippine Airlines ticket to Zamboanga. We were then expanding southwardly, and my boss, Mr. De Guzman, had to bring me to check the existing operations there. Before I left Swift, there were 28 branches nationwide. I started then with a lean group of research staff taken from my QA staff. 3 years after I got a job from Coca-Cola Bottlers Incorporated. I had not made known of this, but my new boss, Mr. D, was quick to find about my intentions to leave. It was then that I learned that the VP of Operations of Visayas and Mindanao branches had been part of the group recommending me for a high position. So they put me to training again, this time mostly of management tasks. Before my third year in my supervisory position ended, my papers were forwarded to Mr. Bernie Concepcion, the AVP for Agribusiness Division, for another promotion. As a Quality Assurance and Research and Development Manager, I was tasked to do the following: to be able to focus on different levels of quality from product and process to overall business level. Moreover, the manager should be familiar with business functions and or business processes to embed quality management structurally in the organization in order to assure food quality and safety in the longer term. The business functions and or business processes include value strategy development, human resource management, finance, and communication. To be largely responsible for creating exceptional consumer-focused chicken products and cutting-edge packaging, leveraging the latest science and processes, help to design Swift's new generation of chicken products and packaging concepts, promote nutritional benefits of our products, and create new systems and processes for safety and production. Before I left Swift last May 1998, after 10 years of being with them, I was already in the operations of the technical services, being groomed for even a higher position. My first trip outside the country this time would have started, but I was to join already my husband here in Saudi. I felt the need to attend to my husband and children in exchange of a huge package given to me by my superiors in Swift. Before I left the company, there were just 3 of us given a performance bonus that I really would not forget. In that blessing, I was able to extend this to my dad and sisters and mom, and even to the family of my husband. It was with Swift that I had grown not only professionally, but also socially, and most importantly, spiritually. I knew I carried that Thomasian spirit anywhere I go. Secrets of success. People define success on the basis of material things. Had I defined it that way, I wouldn't have left Swillig or Accord. It is in sales that you will earn tremendously huge, especially if you are people-oriented, friendly, persevering, resourceful. I was with Swift longer, yet there was much mess there. No laboratory gown. I was given a room shared with the production people and was made of galvanized wallings with galvanized cables. When it was raining outside, it was also raining inside. The poos of the chickens get into my face when I inspect. The blood smells horrible and is almost everywhere. When trouble happens in McDonald's or Jollibee or KFC or TGIF or Popeye or anywhere where chicken is sold, I am always there to defend the plant. And luckily, we always win the case. God has been good, so good to me. I was determined to be a surgeon in any way. I kept my focus on my lost ambition of being a surgeon. But I diverted this and kept this ambition in a different perspective. I said I wanted something that's dirty and clean it up. I wanted a mess and organized it. Almost similar to what a surgeon does in the operating room when he removes the tumor of a patient, cleans the mess around, and put the flesh together, right? With Swift, I did clean up a lot of mess and did give a lot of service to people who needed them. I did a lot of troubleshooting. Next, I carried all with me the I carried all along with me, regardless of the job, that physical thing that relates so much to a surgeon, the laboratory gown. I persevered and did not stop looking for a job that will make me wear it and feel like I was surgeon repairing and cleaning up the mess, including at most times even troubles with marriage. I am able to counsel to friends and even just acquaintances in regards to relationships. I felt I was so much blessed by God that my being a surgeon goes beyond cleaning up physical mess in the plant but also putting herb perspective of people in life to the path of the Lord. Next, I was not blinded by money. I had self-control over matters of material things. I left Accord International. Even the offer was so huge because I was being taught of the monkey business tricks. I left Swift at the height of my career for the sake of my family. I kept all and still keeping and now teaching my children the values taught to me by my parents and by the Catholic schools I attended. I learned the value of acceptance and endurance for things and issues I know I cannot have. I took engineering so my sisters can study as well. I had always looked for guidance above, even how small an issue is in my life. Observations of other Thomasian chemical engineers in the field compared to those who graduated from other schools. First, Thomasian CHEs are more value-oriented. Next, they are religiously inclined. Next, they have this sense of ethics in the workplace. They do not try to assume that they are better than the others. They let their superiors responsible to prove their abilities and capabilities in the job. Next, in my batch of 1985, half of us got married with families while the other half got married to their careers as chemical engineers. Still others married late, and I'm one of them. I married at the age of 30. Something that I really observed from Thomasian CHEs. Future plans. After my children will have finished schooling, actually our eldest Nicole already graduated last year, AP Philosophy. They're also in UST. We will be back there in Manila and hopefully to transfer my knowledge of photography to my next of kins, whoever is interested. Do some spiritual works and enjoy our life there in the Philippines with our friends. Remember, one time in my life, I was exposed to artistry. And I find this self-fulfilling and stress-busting at this time of my life. Future career opportunities for chemical engineers. For one, I can only say and definitely recommend just this one thing. Actually, even Saudi Aramco's 10-year planning looks for chemical engineers having also taken up environmental engineering, as the issues between these two courses are somewhat parallel. As I earlier mentioned, clean up the mess. Get the world to become a better place to live in again. I am an advocate of a green environment. It starts from the house and do your thing to get it over beyond the other side of the globe. God in Genesis told us to be the stewards of the earth. Well, my comments on BSCHE program educational activities and program outcomes, may I be excused to answer this. I do not have in me this thing right now and I really cannot review to comment on this. But I know the objectives of this school, as far as I'm concerned, in my days have been at par with the industry, with the standards of the Lord. Concluding remarks. First, I would like to thank my daughter and her colleagues there for giving me the chance to give some inputs about chemical engineering. Second, please do remember that the institution where you are in now will only be instrumental for the kind of person you want to be someday. As I've always said, it is not the things that the eyes can see that matters most. It is what is in your heart that bears most in the eyes of God. Extract from UST the core values taught and bring it inside your heart, that anywhere you go around the globe, the Spirit lives in, so that your actions will be guided so well, and His mission for you to serve mankind will be your utmost objective. Lastly, may I give my very advanced congratulations for your graduation on March 2019. Thank you.